Now, you thought we voted against this rising new apartheid when we said no to the voice a couple of weeks ago. Well, as if. Give you another example. Well, last night I listed just some of the mountains and rock formations Australians now can't climb if they're of the wrong race, and some of the popular camping sites that have also now been banned for so-called cultural reasons, reasons that Aboriginal groups rarely explain. Now, tonight, another example, a ban on camping on the banks of the Regina River and Lakes Francis and Canalan in Camooweal near the Queensland-Northern Territory border, again for supposed cultural reasons that haven't been explained, been going on for months now. The local business community is apologising to tourists, saying there's been no consultation and a ban that's going to hurt the town and its tourism industry. I've got to say, all these supposed cultural bans after all these decades, often on sites that have been very popular for very long, evidence of Aboriginal culture can't really be seen, if at all. This strikes me more as a power move. So much for reconciliation. But back to the vote on the voice. 61% of Australians saying no to a voice in our constitution, Aboriginal-only group, and dividing us by race. Shouldn't state governments now get that message? No to dividing us by race. Instead, both Victoria and the South Australian government, both Labor governments, they've created their own state-based voices already to, among other things, negotiate a treaty and reparations and whatever. Sarah Game is a One Nation MP in South Australia. She's trying to do something about that. Sarah Game, thank you so much for your time. What are you asking your South Australian Parliament to do?
Thank you so much, Andrew. Well, what I'm asking the South Australian government to do is to listen to the South Australian people who've made it really clear, with the overwhelming majority voting against having race-based division at the referendum. And that's why I've done what I think is the right thing to do, and really the simple thing to do, which is to introduce a bill to repeal our state-based voice. Unfortunately, a lot of South Australians will only be finding out now that despite voting no at the referendum, we're actually still left with our own state-based voice of over 100 people.
Over 100 people, incredible. Where are the Liberals on this? Really, they should have been against this as well. Where are they?
Well, luckily, Andrew, they have expressed some preliminary support for my bill. I think initially they'd come out and said that they'd wait and see how the state-based voice operated and possibly look at doing some amendments to that. But my position is really clear that we just need to remove it completely. You know, we've got over 100 people with guaranteed resourcing, and really that could expand. So I think there's 46 people that are actually the voice members. There's about 55 people on varying committees, but it stipulates very, very clearly in the legislation that those committees can be easily expanded, and also that if you're going to be a committee member, you can't actually be a voice member, which is very different than normal parliament. We've also got a voice secretariat to help with the running of the voice, and so it's absolutely out of control and can keep expanding. It's also important to note, Andrew, that it states within this legislation that this huge bureaucracy will in no way supersede any of the existingly funded organisations that are failing to deliver.
Of course not. We've got all these activists who need a job, taxpayer funded. Can't have that, Sarah. Sarah, but the thing is, the Liberals got to get the message. This is not just about whether it does good or not. This is about thing in principle, a race-based organisation. And as long as it's there, you know how it is. The people that trade most on being different to the rest of the community by virtue of race, they come to the top. People who are assimilationist or integrationist, they don't. It encourages racialism and radicalisation. It is wrong on principle. What's Labor saying in response to what you're doing?
Well, they've firmly put their foot down that they're going to go ahead with this anyway, which I think is a real mistake. I mean, let's make clear that the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders could easily be left without a voice despite this enormous voice, because despite the legislation stipulating that these 100 or so members will have guaranteed resourcing, they're actually not required to attend Parliament or make parliamentary reports. It's totally at their own discretion. And which is really almost unbelievable. But back to your point about division, absolutely. I mean, South Australians are doing it tough. It doesn't matter your ancestry or where you're from. Many South Australians are struggling. They're in poverty. We've got a cost of living crisis, and South Australians do not want this. And I've made it clear from the very beginning that what we want to do is support people based on need, not based on race or ancestry. And, you know, that's the way that the Liberals need to go. And frankly, the Labor government need to come out and say, we've made a mistake, and we're going to listen to the South Australian people.
Oh, you make a very good point. There are people, Aborigines, who very much need help. I'm thinking a number of people in the APY lands, for instance. They do need help, but it's got to be treated on the basis of need, not of race, because the activists you see coming to these voice things, they don't seem to need a hand up to me, a lot of them, not on the public teat. Sarah, again, thank you so much indeed for your help, and good luck to you.